PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 million bridges between our lands.
Hello, I'm Alma Angeles and welcome to ASEAN in Focus, delivering to you the latest news in and around the ASEAN region. Now to the news. The Philippine National Police Chief, Oscar Albayalde, said alias Kama and 4 other members of the Abu Sayyaf group believed to be behind the bombing of the Jolo Cathedral surrendered to authorities over the weekend. Albayalde said Kama Alpay alias Kama, Abaji Kisay Kajali alias Awag, Rajan Bakil Kajali Kaisar, Bakil Kajali, and Salit Ali surrendered following a massive hot pursuit operations by several police and military units. Now, these 5 suspects, as well as 2 alleged suicide bombers, were part of a 21-man team that has been tagged as responsible for the 2 explosions at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Jolo, Sulu on January 27. The team was allegedly led by Hatib Hadjan Sawadjaan.
Hindi sila sabay-sabay.
Okay.
Mula Saturday, mula sa Sabado, Linggo.
Right.
I think he's not admitting anything, pero yung mga kasamahan niya at saka yung ibang witness, they're pinpointing to him as the one who escorted actually itong couple.
So, sir, if he did
hindi
not...
niya pwedeng i-deny yan. And doon sa bahay niya, we were able to recover IED and IED components in doon sa mismong bahay niya.
On January 12, Sawadjaan met with Usman and Ingung in Bastiong, Patikul and gave them the funds for a bombing mission. On January 24, an Asian couple believed to be Indonesians who served as the suicide bombers sailed to Jolo on board a pump boat from Lampingan Island where they had been holed up. Upon arrival in Jolo, the suspects boarded a tricycle going to Caltex Tiam to meet Awag Ali and Rajan. The couple, together with Ali and Rajan, boarded Awag's jeepney along with the 5 minor boys who later disembarked from the vehicle. The couple was brought to Barangay Langhub in Patikul near Usman's house, and they were joined by Kama, Barak, Makrim, and Usman. The group then proceeded to Sitio Bastiong, Barangay Langhub.
Kaya nga tumagal yan because of the implementation of the martial law, no? Nakasingit yan nung medyo nakita nilang nag-relax yung medyo nakita nilang nakakuha ng butas. Remember, kapag parang principles of war yan, when you see the enemy relax, then that's the time that you attack. These acts of terror, we can only prevent these things from happening for such a time lang, no? Dahil ito ay talagang ipipilit at ipipilit. Kaya napaka-importante that just before na mangyari ito ay makuha natin sila. No? Okay. Napaka-importante po nito. No amount of martial law, kung talagang makasingit yan, sisingit at sisingit yan.
In other news, Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency or PDEA officials said 1.9 billion pesos worth of shabu were recovered from 2 Chinese nationals earlier killed in a shootout in Tanza, Cavite. PDEA Director General Aaron Aquino identified the 2 Chinese nationals as Vincent Dulim and Hang Li Wen, who shot it out with combined PDEA Intelligence Service of the Armed Forces of the Philippines or ISAF and Philippine National Police operatives. The authorities seized from the 2 suspects a .45 caliber pistol, a 9mm pistol, and more or less 274 kilos of shabu with estimated value of 1.9 billion pesos. Aquino also said the operation, which was in coordination with the ISAF, was conducted at around 4 p.m. at a warehouse in Barangay Amaya 1, Antero Soriano Highway in Tanza. He said the poseur buyers saw the shabu being repacked from the warehouse gate, so they altered the main group of the arresting team. He said when they went in, the 2 Chinese were surprised and fought it out, According to Aquino in an interview, he added, actually, we're only buying just 1 kilo. Maybe these Chinese could not send someone to deliver the drugs, he said, so they asked our men, meaning the posture buyers, to proceed to the warehouse, and there were only 2 of them, probably because it's Sunday. No workers were around, the PIDEA chief said, adding that the drugs may have been shipped to the country recently. Citing initial assessment, Aquino also said the seized shabu may have come probably from China, which were dropped somewhere in Ilocos region, as the drug syndicates have refrained from smuggling drugs through the ports. That's because PIDEA and the Customs Bureau have already stepped up anti-drug operations there. Meanwhile, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin on Saturday agreed that the Philippines should protest the construction of a maritime rescue center in the contested South China Sea, once verified by the relevant offices in the country. Locsin also said the Department of Foreign Affairs will await official assessment from National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon, as he declined to acknowledge the report of China's state news agency Xinhua on the hub's establishment at the Cagitingan Reef in the Kalayaan Island Group. In a tweet, he said, and we will protest. I, however, preferred engaging them openly on the floor of the UN or United Nations General Assembly, he said in a tweet on his official account. Locsin was responding to an earlier statement from Senior Justice Associate Antonio Carpio, who urged the government to protest China's newest construction in the Philippine-claimed reef. In a series of tweets, Department of Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin also agreed with Senior Associate Justice Antonio Carpio's stance that the country could or should take action after China opened a new facility on the Fiery Cross Reef or Cagitingan Reef. This is one of the China-occupied artificial islands in the Spratlys, being claimed by both China and Manila. And ASEAN in Focus will be back with a very special guest. We'll be right back.
Hong Kong, Japan, Brunei, Taiwan, kahit saan sa Asia, France, Germany o Italy, saan man sa Europa.
Ikaw ba ay isang OFW? Alam mo ba ang iyong mga karapatan? Subaybayan ang gabay ng OFW International tuwing Lunes at Sabado, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng gabi, dito lang sa DCEC Radyo Agila.
Landmarks, Linggo, alas 6 hanggang alas 7 ng gabi.
Muslim.
Welcome back. We are honored to have as guest today, a very special guest, Dr. Macapado Abaton Muslim, a university professor and former president of Mindanao State University. Professor Muslim obtained his PhD and MA on political science from the University of Hawaii, where he wrote a dissertation on the Moro armed struggle, which was later published into a book. He specializes in governance and peace building in multi-ethnic countries. And just recently, Dr. Muslim launched a book titled the 2018 Bangsamoro Organic Law in the Philippines, Solving the Mindanao Conflict with Autonomy plus Compensatory Justice. Welcome to the program, sir.
Yes, thank you, Alma.
Yes, and this is very timely, the Bangsamoro Organic Law in the Philippines.
Yes.
But first, please tell us about your book, and why did you write this book?
Well, my primary reasons for writing this book are two. One is as a native Mindanaoan and a Filipino citizen, it is my dream to contribute significantly to the final settlement, peaceful settlement of the armed conflict in Mindanao, which is already 46 years old. Second is my interest to share our experience in the Mindanao peace process to countries in many parts of the world, like within ASEAN, in addressing their problems associated with their ethnocultural diversity. So you have ethnic conflicts in Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, in Thailand, in Indonesia in relation to West Papua, aside from Aceh, which has already been solved by the government of Indonesia. So basically, those are the two reasons why I wrote this book. Yes.
So you think this would also contribute to the security and peace building around ASEAN, around the ASEAN region?
Well, exactly, because if you look at world statistics on wars and conflicts, you will find out that the great majority of these conflicts have to do with state-ethnic relations conflict. Ethnic conflict, like, for example, the Mindanao conflict, what used to be called, the conflict between the government of Indonesia and Aceh before, between West Papua and Indonesia, the Muslims in Myanmar and their government, the Muslims in many parts of China, the case of ethnic minorities in Sri Lanka, for example.
So in our case?
In our case in the Philippines, I consider the Moro armed struggle to be a more complex. In fact, my categorization of the Moro armed conflict is that it has already reached what I consider to be a virulent form of ethnic conflict. Virulent in the sense that the conflict is already, if you look at the Mindanao peace process, it is already 43 years old. 1975, when the government started negotiating with the MNLF, with the help of the government of Libya under the late Colonel Gaddafi.
Gaddafi, yes.
Okay, and from 1976 up to the present. So we even had several agreements in the past. The 1976 Tripoli Agreement, that was followed by the Jakarta Agreement. We called this during the time of President Ramos the GRP MNLF final peace agreement in 1996 final, but until today it has not been solved. This is now the third. And what is interesting with the third, I refer to the 2014 Comprehensive Agreement of the Bangsamoro signed by President Aquino and the MILF, which led to the Bangsamoro Organic Law, Republic Act 11054.
Okay.
Now, one thing that moved me to do something, to be able to complete this book before the plebiscite, is because for the first time, I see a Philippine president who has an accurate understanding of the fundamental elements, the fundamental determinants of the Moro problem. Second, I have no doubt that he is sincere, President Duterte is sincere in his vision of solving the Mindanao conflict during his term. That is exactly the reason why, if you look at what transpired, the events in Mindanao during the legislative process for the Bangsamoro Organic Law, during the campaign for the first round of the plebiscite, I never saw what I saw in these recent events, how the whole region was engaged. Engaged na engaged masyado yung mga kapatid natin na Muslim.
True.
Na parang sa kanila, nakita nila, at last, after 46 years with the Mindanao One President, masosolve na yung problema sa Mindanao. That is the reason why, despite some of the recent events, yung nangyari sa Hulo at saka yung nangyari sa Zamboanga, ako optimistic ako. Tulungan na lang natin yung new regional government na ma-implement yung Bangsamoro Organic Law to the fullest. This will serve as our principal shield against acts of terrorism and violence and extremism. Yan ang pinaka-antidote natin. Pag na-resolve na ito ng gusto, and the principal problems associated with political and economic exclusion and distribution issues. Okay. Pag na-address mo yung mga identity-related problems ng mga kapatid natin na Muslim, eventually, magkakaroon tayo ng Bangsamoro Regional Government na magiging active partner of the government in ensuring that there is no part of Mindanao that can serve as a sanctuary for itong mga tinatawag natin na mga terorista.
So, okay. How will the Bangsamoro Organic Law implement that? How can it prevent these terrorists from having those pockets inside Mindanao?
Well, after 46 years of armed struggle and 43 years of the Mindanao peace process, yung mga kapatid natin na Muslim, although obviously 43 years of incrementalist autonomy project, we learn a lot, good and bad, from that 43 years of failed peace process. Fortunately, itong bagong Bangsamoro Organic Law is far better than the former. Itong former,
the ARM.
I refer to Republic Act 6734 during the time of President Cory Aquino, as amended by Republic Act 9054 during the time of Ramos, that produced the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, which no less than President Aquino and many of our national leaders declared to be a failed experiment. So,
so you're saying that the ARMM is a failed experiment? Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's according to some of our national leaders.
Okay.
Relatively yes, because you know
why did it fail? What were the flaws?
I am a scholar on peace building.
Okay.
And you know what? The standard is, according to Barbara Walters in her book, Committing to Peace, when an armed conflict involved active peace negotiations and active mediation by a third party, an independent third party, after signing the agreement, within 5 years, expect a final resolution of the conflict. Yung sa atin sa Mindanao, it's 43 years.
Yes.
Nakailang agreements, nakailang organic act, nakadalawa na.
Okay.
Ang ibig sabihin, kung nag-fail, it's not because to be, you know what, to be fair to the incumbent leadership of the autonomous region. Sa time ni Brother Governor Mujib Hataman, a lot of governance reforms ay noticeable naman. Nakita natin yung improvement. But still, nandyan pa yung problema. Bakit nandyan pa yung problema?
Okay.
The reason nag-fail is because the autonomy formula contained in RA 6734 as modified by RA 9054 is it defective, it's a flawed autonomy formula.
Okay.
Why
Sir,
flawed?
yes, you are going to tell us why it is flawed right after this short break. We have to go on a very short break, and then we'll be back and tell us why that formula is really flawed. Okay, we'll be right back.
Si Ito Rapadas ng Neo Colors. Abagan niyo po ako sa Young Once Upon a Time ngayong linggo alas 8 ng gabi sa Net 25.
na nasanay ako sa aking pag-iisa at kaya na iwanan ng
All right, welcome back. We're still talking to our very special guest, Dr. Macapado Muslim, Professor and Doctor. Yes, you were talking about the why the ARMM was flawed and defective. Tell us why.
Why defective? You know what this law gave us, the Organic Act, repealed by the BUL. It gave us only limited political autonomy, largely administrative autonomy, not much political autonomy. By political autonomy, we refer to not only executive power but also legislative power. Now, if you look at the same autonomy law, practically, there is not much power given to the region to address the region's distinct requirements.
Like?
For example, yung mga kapatid natin na Muslim, basic to our existence is our belief, our faith, our religion. We would like to die as good Muslims. And to be good Muslims, you have to ensure that applicable parts of Islamic law be applied to our relations, in our relation to our spouses, in our relation to our children, to our neighbors, to the government, to the community. In other words, it is our wish that eventually a substantial portion of Islamic law is implemented in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region. Meaning to say, a regional government where the Bangsamoro people have the power, the authority, and the resources to implement the Sharia legal system. Not a case of an unfunded mandate, okay? You already have your Sharia courts, but you try to trace where the Sharia courts are, you will find many of them occupying ground floors of some residential houses because no funds are provided for these courts. You will find them unmanned, understaffed. In fact, I did research on this. You will find out that there are even some courts without regular Sharia court judges. Now, Sharia is only one aspect. The second aspect is the support for madaris.
Madaris is?
Madrasa schools. These are Islamic religious schools in our barangays and our towns. Now, under the Bangsamoro Organic Law, the government has given the new Bangsamoro government the power to strengthen the madrasa schools in the Philippines, and with enormous resources given by the government, we can expect that unlike in the past, we can achieve more in strengthening the Sharia legal system and the Madaris educational system in the Bangsamoro. A very critical factor which you will find in the BUL but not in the previous one is the relatively substantial financial resources and fiscal autonomy given to the Bangsamoro region. Now, if you look at the old ARMM, kasi old na we can already use that, the former, because ratified na by the people in the core territory of the autonomous region and organic law. It's only a question of expanding it, and the plebiscite tomorrow in 6 towns in Lanao del Norte and 67 barangays in North Cotabato. These are possible expansion areas. Now, back to fiscal autonomy.
Okay.
Tiningnan ko rin, ni-research ko, anong pagkaiba ng old law, organic law, at saka yung bago.
Okay.
Yung old law, sa totoo lang, mayroon ding block grant. Controversial yun noon na, wow, there's so much money being given to the new region. Sa totoo lang, pag tiningnan mo yung organic law for the ERMM, makikita mo mayroon ding block grant. Pero what is the difference? The block grant in the new law is that fix ang amount. Sa previous, hindi fix ang amount. Pangalawa, it's 5% of the collections of the Bureau of Internal Revenue, National Collections, at saka Bureau of Customs.
Okay.
Ang ibig sabihin, fix ang amount, fix ang source.
Okay.
Sa old law, hindi fix ang amount, hindi identified ang source. Pangatlo, very critical ito, automatically appropriated itong pera na ibibigay sa ARM. Ang ibig sabihin, mawawala na the practice of bigging by regional officials every budget period will be a thing of the past. Hindi na kasi automatically appropriated, and the BUL also provides that the same shall be released without any condition, not subject to the usual budget cut. In the past, bigyan yung mga agencies ng budget, then later lalabas yung order mag-impose ng 25% na budget cut, mandatory savings sa MOE ng mga opisina, or 50% sa capital outlay. Dito sa Bangsamoro Organic Law, buong-buo yan, nire-release comprehensively, automatically. Yes.
So what is next? My last question here before I wish we had more time, but what is next after the BOL? After all this, after the, let's say, it should be expanded in the 6 other regions in the plebiscite, what is next after the BOL?
Well, after this, tomorrow will be the plebiscite.
Yes.
Whether yes or no, for the majority, we now have a new regional government.
Okay.
So the immediate concern is the establishment and operationalization of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority. This will be the interim government of the new Bangsamoro government from this month up to the 2022 regular election. So, 3 taon yan. The Bangsamoro Transition Authority will exercise the legislative and executive powers of the regular regional government in the interim period. And the way, according to the latest information I got, the nominees for the 80 members of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority have already been submitted to Malacanang. So ang kailangan lang dyan, mapirmahan ni President Duterte yung appointments of the members of the head and the members of the Bangsamoro Transition Authority, then magsisimula na. And we just hope na, all of us to help in ensuring na makapagsimula ang new regional government to start strong, big, quick, and effective. Sana magkaroon ng stable, deconflictualized, peaceful ecosystem or environment in the implementation of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. We have a good law. What needs to be done is to ensure that the same law is implemented properly. And all of us, including you guys in the media, have a role to play in ensuring the success ensuring success in the implementation of the Bangsamoro Organic Law.
Thank you, sir. But sir, don't leave because we will continue our interview. But this show is now ending. I wish we had more time, but don't leave, sir. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for our special guest, Dr. Professor Dr. Macapado Abaton Muslim.
Okay.
Don't leave, sir.
Maraming salamat din.
Maraming salamat po, and we learned a lot, and we'll be learning a lot more when we continue this interview a little bit later. And that is the latest news and our latest interview for the ASEAN in Focus. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Alma Angeles, always one with 25.